Welcome inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. Dan Hope joined by Andy Anders as we just watched Ohio State go through its first practice of preseason camp. Our first time watching the Buckeyes in over 3 months as they are now 30 days away from their season opener against Akron. One practice in, Andy. What's the biggest thing that stood out to you today?
The receivers. I mean, this receiving core is insane. I think we expected that coming in, but watching them on the field today, Jeremiah Smith, I mean, the hype train has kept building and building. I don't know if you could have any more hype, but if it's possible, he gave you more reason today. Had a really nice catch over Calvin Simpson-Hunt in practice. That was an underthrown ball from Will Howard. Jumped about, 10 feet in the air, snagged that thing out of the sky and made it look like nothing. You know, that's the thing. He makes spectacular plays look easy. It reminds me of Jackson Smith and Jigba in that sense, where Jackson would do something crazy and you're like, wait, did he just do that? He made it look so smooth. Jeremiah Smith has that same ability, and just highlight real plays across the board. Carnell Tate, though, was right there with him. Carnell had a huge day today, had his own spectacular leaping grab, did some really nice things. Brandon Ennis looked smooth and sharp. For me, those were the top standouts, though. Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis really got after it today.
You mentioned Will Howard. I feel like I come out of this first practice of preseason camp kind of feeling the same way I felt about Will Howard all spring, where we're still looking to see more from him. I think early in the practice, I thought, okay, we're seeing some progress here. He's looking pretty sharp. But then when they got into the 7-on-7 and the team drills, I think we saw some of the same accuracy issues that we did throughout the spring. I think, particularly on the deep ball, we saw, again, Carnell Tate make a great catch on a Will Howard deep ball. Jeremiah Smith make a great catch on a Will Howard deep ball. But there's a reason why they had to make a great catch, because the balls weren't placed right where they should be. So the good news is Ohio State has some really good receivers that can help make up for it when the quarterback's not quite on target. But I come out of this practice still feeling like we need to see more from Will Howard if we're going to feel real good about him being the starting quarterback for this team this year.
Yeah, and you see great catches on great throws on deep balls a lot. And, you're going to back shoulder some guys, but even that wasn't within the range of what Will Howard was doing on some of those deep balls. I think that the one of Jeremiah Smith was significantly underthrown, and he had to make a great play on it. And then he overthrew Carnell Tate a little bit, and he has to leap out of the air and snag it. So you get... it's just a mix of accuracy issues pushing the ball downfield. I did think there was a little more zip coming out of his hand, maybe 15 yards and under. That was one thing I noticed, some tighter spirals in that area of the field. But like you said, Dan, there weren't really any head and shoulders above the rest of the crowd standouts at quarterback for me today. Devin Brown, probably the most consistent overall, but didn't really have many flashes. Julian Sayin had the best throw period, I think we both thought, but also looked like a freshman plenty of times out there. Lincoln Keenholz really struggled early in practice, did do some things later, and then you get Aaron Noland, who didn't really have many reps early in practice, but did make some nice throws down the stretch. So it was really just like kind of a hodgepodge of math. It is the first day of fall camp. That should be noted. People are getting their feet under them, still growing in the offense. For Will Howard, still developing chemistry with a new core of weapons. So we'll see how things progress as it goes. But for today, I would start feeling a little concerned about where Ohio State's quarterback position is going to be in this fall.
One practice out of 25, as you said, so have to be careful not to read too much into anything. I think something that would go along with that would be what we saw at will linebacker on day one, where Sonny Styles really seemed to take pretty much all the reps with the first team defense. They had kind of a split team deal going on today where, on the offensive side of the ball, there was definitely more mixing, particularly on the offensive line. You had Josh Simmons on Donovan Jackson on one offensive line. You had Seth McLaughlin, Josh Fryer on the other. Carson Hinsman out with an illness today. So I don't think we came out of today with really any clarity about where things stack up on the offensive line right now. But on defense, we did see, there was one unit that had all the 10 other guys who are expected to be starters this year. Those being Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, Tyleik Williams, Ty Hamilton, Cody Simon, Denzel Burke, Jordan Hancock, Davis Nigbinosin, Lathan Ransom, Caleb Downs. See me counting here. I think I got them all there. And Sonny Styles was with those guys. So that shows you, at least for day one, he's certainly getting a significant look at that starting will linebacker spot.
We've talked about it. There are going to be times where they're both going to be on the field this year, we think, and both of those guys could have a really big impact for the defense. But day one of fall camp, to what you said, Dan, I would say that Sonny Styles is probably the favorite to win the starting job at will linebacker as it stands.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're going to be back here again tomorrow for another practice, so we'll see. Maybe CJ Hicks will get most of the first team reps. So again, I don't think you want to jump to any big conclusions after just one day of practice, but certainly the Jeremiah Smith hype train continues to build. I think Carnell Tate reminding everybody how good he can be. I thought Gabe Powers was a guy who had a good practice today. I thought Tegra Shabul is a guy who looked good there, competing at that interior offensive line spot. And so, we'll see, as this weekend continues to progress, all of the first 4 practices is going to be open to fans who have paid to attend those practices. So we'll see, do things look similar as they did on day 1, or do things continue to progress? We'll be continuing to cover it here for you at 11warriors.com. So stay tuned with us for much more coverage as Ohio State preseason camp gets underway.